Hey there, Susan Joseph, just checking in regards to buyer traps and how to avoid them in this current market. So, not a really long video today, just a short one. Just want to go over a couple of things with you if you're out there and you're looking to buy a property, whether it's an investment, first-time home buyer, second-time home buyer. Just some little tricks to kind of get you through the ins and outs of the home buying process. Number one is bidding blind. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you have buyer representation. It doesn't cost you anything to have a buyer's agent. Make sure that you have somebody out there looking out for your best interest. Extremely important. Doesn't cost you a thing, and you want to have somebody who's knowledgeable in the home buying process. So make sure you have a realtor who's been doing this for a little while. This is kind of a tricky market that we're in right now, so you want somebody very educated to kind of get you through this process, to kind of hold your hand, if you will, from start to finish. So when you find a property that you want to put an offer in on, make sure that your buyer's agent gives you a CMA on this property. You want to make sure that they go back to their office, that they do a full market analysis, and that they know what this house is worth. Because someone like myself, I deal with 3 states. So I can't just go into a house in, say, Johnston, Rhode Island, or Grafton, Mass, and know right off the top what this house is worth. I have to go back and do my homework. You don't want to bid too high, and you don't want to bid too low. So very important that your realtor educates you on exactly what this home should sell for. Buying the wrong house. This is something that, I'm kind of guilty of. I built the wrong house. I fell in love with the amenities and the flow and the granite and the bedrooms were too small. And I think sometimes when you go into a house, you may think that you love the kitchen, maybe the nicest kitchen that you've seen, but really pay attention to the details. Does that basement have a walkout? And are you going to be using that basement for a rec area for your children? Are the bedrooms big enough? Does it have what you need to, make this house comfortable for you and your family? So make sure that you don't kind of get wrapped up in the cosmetics, if you will, and buy the right house for your family, because you don't want to move in and realize 3 months in that this house just doesn't work for you. Like I said, I actually built a Florida-style ranch, gorgeous home, still love the house. However, a ranch just did not work for a family of 5 with 3 children under 10. For me, it just didn't work. So make sure that you buy the right house. Undisclosed fix-ups, really try to be aware of what you're purchasing. Do that full home inspection. Go with your gut instinct. If you see something that doesn't look right to you, make sure that you investigate it. And get that seller's disclosure. Look through it with your realtor and make sure that you're aware of everything that needs to be fixed on that property. And keep your eye open for things that may not have been disclosed. Mortgage pre-approval, we've touched on this a little bit in other videos. Cannot stress how important it is. Get your mortgage pre-approval before you get out there looking. Make sure that you're comfortable with the monthly payments with your taxes and insurance included. Know that before you go out looking. It's very difficult to start looking at property for $225. Find out you're not comfortable with the monthly payment and then have to go out and purchase something for $150, because obviously the houses at $150 aren't really going to compare to the ones at $225. So don't set yourself up for that disappointment. Get that pre-approval in hand. Make sure that you're comfortable with the down payment, and make sure that you're comfortable with the monthly payment, should I say. Contracts, etc., repair issues. When you go into contract, make sure that you make it subject to home inspections. Depending on the house, will depend on whether or not you do, radon, lead, and so forth. Make sure that you follow the guidelines in your purchase and sales contract. Generally, it's within 7 days. Again, different states it does vary, so please be aware of these. You have to get back to the seller with all of your requested repairs. So don't request all of them either. This is kind of a delicate process of trying to get the seller to work with you while not giving them a laundry list of tedious things. So this comes down to experience with your agent, but be selective in what you request for repairs. Get that to them within the timeline per the contract. Sometimes if you have an older seller and they really just don't have the ability to get those estimates and get that work done, they'll offer you a credit. Certainly at your discretion what you want to do. I think a credit is fine as long as you believe that you can get the work done for that amount of money. And in regards to these repairs, when you do the walkthrough, which you always want to do a walkthrough right before the closing, you want to make sure that these things are all repaired. So if they're not, before you sit down at that closing table. Uncover all hidden costs. Have your lender project total charges for you in writing. And include inspections, appraisals. We've covered in another video some of the costs for first-time home buyers. But just know going into this process, make sure you sit with your agent and they educate you on all of these costs. You're going to have appraisals, which can go from 200 to 325, your inspections, which can go from 300 to anywhere from 700, depending on how in depth you get with lead and radon. You're going to have your down payment, which is generally a minimum of 3% in this current market. Closing costs, which can run up to $5,000, which you can certainly roll into your mortgage, so don't let that figure intimidate you. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are aware of all of the costs going forward with the buying process. The buyer profile system, this is something that I offer all of my buyers in all 3 states. When I first get in touch with you, I have you tell me exactly what you're looking for, what you're pre-approved for, what you're comfortable spending, towns, bedrooms, square footage. I put it all into whatever MLS systems qualify for your search, and immediately you're going to start getting listings that are in your criteria. I don't send you listings that are above your price point. I don't send you listings that don't have the right bedrooms. You literally receive all available homes that meet your criteria, and you get them the second that they hit the market. With my buyer profile system, you also receive reduced listings immediately, and whenever they change the photos. So that's kind of a nice little thing there, because you get the reductions, the new listings, and the photo changes, which I think is great. So make sure you're working with an agent that has a really good buyer profile system, because it really takes the guesswork out, gives you the addresses so that you can kind of drive by these properties right away, and you don't have to call an agent all the time either. So I really like that feature. A systemized approach to the home buying process can help you steer clear of these common traps, allowing you to not only cut costs but also secure the home that's best for you. You know, buying a home, whether it's your first home or your second home, can be a really great experience. It's a matter of working with someone who you have fun with. I mean, I'm going to be doing a video actually on taking out a first-time home buyer, and I can tell you, we get in our jeans and our sneakers and we grab a coffee and we hit the road sometimes, and we look at 7 or 8 in one day, or sometimes we look at 1 depending on the buyer's time frame, and we have a really great time, and that's important. You want to make this process fun. You want to have somebody who's educated, but you want to enjoy it, and that's really important. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today with the buyer traps. I hope that that's been helpful for you. I like this video. Being a first-time home buyer can be really intimidating, and I think if you just know a little bit, as to what to expect, it kind of helps you out there. So as always, if you need anything at all, have any questions, just want to chit-chat, give me a call, 401-678-0576. You can always email me, susanjoseph@remax.net. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.